It's a mad caper.
No Donald Trump, no nationalism, no Barack Obama, no socialism, no to the Bushes, no conservatism, no to the Clintons, no liberalism, no fascism, no communism, no capitalism, no politicians, no to all of their isms, and no to all of their schisms, cause we own a mission to unite the divisions. I'm in the know, I'm in the know, I'm in the know, I'm in the know, cause first you must know so you can say no. I'm in the know, I'm in the know, I'm in the know, cause first you must know so you can say no. No police, no military. If we're gonna grow peace, we must build it squarely. No police, no military. If we're gonna grow peace, we must build it squarely. No government, no slavery. Let love ascend. True anarchy. No government, no slavery. Let love ascend. True anarchy. No Gavin Newsom. No Andrew Cuomo. You can have that twosome. I don't want to hear them no more. It's time to create a vision anew. This ain't about America. This is about me and you. This is about being you, man, what you wanna do, take account of your own life, or have someone ruling you. No new abnormal, no Bill Gates, no big pharma, no mandates. I'm in the know, I'm in the know, I'm in the know, I'm in the know, cause first you must know so you can say no. I'm in the know, I'm in the know, I'm in the know, cause first you must know so you can say no. No government, no slavery, let love ascend. True anarchy. No government, no slavery, let love ascend. True anarchy. I'm in the know.
The concept of authority, that some people are the masters who make up the rules, who say what the law is, and other people have to obey them. It's called slavery. I don't care whether your notion of slavery is just the ball and chain version and you think that's the only form. You're wrong. The concept of authority is slavery. The concept of government is slavery. The concept of taxation is slavery. The concept of prohibition is slavery. The concept of not being allowed to exercise your rights because somebody else tells you can't, and they're saying you have to obey them when they say you can't exercise that right, is slavery. You're living in it.
It's a mad caper.
Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to I Was Wrong with John Rowland. Happy Monday, the day after what some celebrate as Easter Sunday. And today's episode is called Reclaiming Government. Been trying to do these every Monday morning, 9:30, once a week, live streams. It's interesting throughout the week trying to think of what topic I want to do and how that comes to fruition. You realize there's just so many different topics you'd like to talk about and get into. Eventually, it'd be nice to be able to do a live stream like this more often so I can cover more of those topics. So many things coming up, not only in the category of shadows on the wall, aka the news, which we could talk about to some extent, but I pretty much choose to not focus on those things. I really feel like that is just a major distraction, and in most cases, that information that they're feeding us is false information, meant to distract you from what's really important, which is the internal work and freeing yourself from mental slavery, and getting into touch with that higher power, and raising yourself up spiritually, which in my perspective of Jesus and the story of Jesus, that's the underlying message that's important, the message of death and rebirth, which we experience here in this realm in many forms. And one of those forms is raising yourself up spiritually from a low vibration to a higher vibration, resolving the paradoxes, which is a lot what this show is about. Specifically today, I will be touching on a word, government, which I believe there's a paradox in that word that needs to be resolved. And I'm going to be sharing with you a writing that I did, which I will be posting to my Substack within the next few days, hopefully sooner than later. So good morning, Manu Richer or Riker. I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly. Manu had a comment. Shout out to all the targeted individuals out there. Addressing slavery will eventually save us from touchless torture programs. Yes, there is the belief and the idea that there is technology that can, what do they call it? Something to skull, like it goes directly to your head and can put ideas into your mind. And I have reason to believe that is true. That there is some way they can tap into us. There's many ways that they try to. I mean, all of us are controlled in some extent. We're all conditioned by the world we came up in. And again, like I mentioned, the news is a constant stream of information, whether it be through print. It started with print, going into any new form of media that they've created. This has always been around. The internet is just the newest iteration of that. And but to think that this propaganda hasn't existed since the beginning would be naive, I believe. But many people do think that it's something that is new. It's definitely more powerful with the technology they have today. Good morning also to Daryl Ernst. He said no to government in all of its forms and fashions. No more, no more, no more. Great comment for what I will be talking about today. Daryl also says, have to watch this later. I have a truckload of horse manure that isn't going to unload itself. Yes, sir. I appreciate that. We'll see you later. And Manu says, I can confirm it to you, Gnosis, that he knows that this technology exists. Yeah, I don't deny that it does. Again, I tend to choose to believe that we can overcome these things, and that these technologies of controlling our minds, can be overcome by our own ability to control our own mind. And I have to have faith in that in order to have faith that we can solve the problems here on Earth. So that goes right into what I'm going to talk about today. I am going to tell you guys, just so you can see a visible mark on my eye here. I don't know if you guys remember last couple of weeks I mentioned we had gone through some illness here at the house, and I seem to get some form of pink eye, either allergic or some type of bacterial infection, and it actually is leaving these marks. I don't know, because I get crust in my eyes in the morning and then I rub it out and it kind of scratches. But it's been lingering. And just as an addendum here, this is not health advice. I'm not giving health advice, but I try to avoid the pharmaceutical industry as much as possible. And I was thinking I might have to end up going into like the emergency room just to get them to look at it, and possibly have to get like some type of antibiotic to get rid of what appeared to be some form of pink eye. And a good friend of mine who I, sometimes consult for, alternative solutions to these problems, she actually recommended colloidal silver, which is interesting because I've heard people say not to take colloidal silver, specifically Dr. Sebi. I saw an interview with his family, and they were saying like it's an unnatural thing. It shouldn't go in your body. But my friend who I trust, she said that she had used it and it was antibacterial and you could use it for pink eye, and that they had made colloidal silver eye drops. And I didn't find specific eye drops, but I did find pure colloidal silver in a dropper form. And she said that would work. And it has seemed to work, despite the fact that I got this little sore under my eye. It is clearing up. My eyes feel much better today after about 4 days of doing drops twice a day. Go colloidal silver, right? Okay. So I started a Substack towards the end of last year, and was sharing poetry, old poetry that I've written that I never really shared that much. Posted a lot of that at the end of last year. I did a little series, started a series called The Last Journal, where I'm talking about just kind of going through my journals and sort of using my journals as a way to sort of craft the story of my own life, and to be able to kind of look back and see where I've been at different points in my life. And so anyway, I've moved forward into this idea of I was wrong, where I am sort of dealing with these terms that we use in the natural law community. That song that I played at the beginning has a clip on there from Mark Passio. A lot of the information from that song is inspired by the information I learned from Mark Passio. No government, no slavery. And, it really shows you where I was at, with that, in that phase of my life, specifically, about 5, 6, 7 years ago, up till now, where I created the Natural Freedom League, where we would go out into the public and share with them the concepts of natural law, anarchy, freedom, where your rights come from. And, you discover when you go out to the public and you talk to people like this, that just because we resonate with that message and it seems to make common sense to us, in some cases, it doesn't make common sense to people. And I started looking at the terms we use and looking at the deeper meaning of the terms, and coming to this realization that the terms that we use are kind of weaponized against us, and that there's usually a negative and a positive connotation to the terms. And, just for example, anarchy, right? Like, we know that anarchy just means no rulers, not no rules. But, it's been weaponized to mean, chaos, destruction, and that's sort of what the modern connotation of it is. So a lot of this work with this podcast, this live stream, and also my writings moving forward will be what I'm calling like resolving this paradox of these words, and finding that we need to be clear what we're talking about. Like in that song, when I'm saying no government, no slavery, I'm talking about the institution of government, right? But okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share with you my screen as I read this. And it is called Reclaiming Government. Reclaiming government. Some people believe government is inevitable and has always existed. Some people believe that government is a necessary evil. Some people believe that government is slavery. What is government? From Webster's Dictionary Online. A small group of persons holding simultaneously the principal political executive offices of a nation or other political unit, and being responsible for the direction and supervision of public affairs. This is what most people think of when they talk about government, the institution of government, a small group of people who make decisions for the broader population. But as we look deeper at the etymology and root of the word government, we find a deeper meaning. From etymonline.com, the word government comes from the Latin word gubernare, to direct, rule, guide, govern, originally to steer, pilot, or to control, and from the Latin word mens or mente, which means mind. So the word government literally means to control the mind, or mind control. Why does the word government mean mind control? Why is the word we use to describe the small group of persons being responsible for the direction and supervision of public affairs mind control or government? Is it because this small group of people get together to control the minds of the masses? Is this how they direct and supervise public affairs? Through mind control? This was my first impression upon discovering that the word government means mind control. I couldn't believe that the institution of government, which is the cause of many, if not all, of the world's problems, which has perpetrated mass corruption, lying, stealing, violence, as well as mind control experiments upon the masses, would be called mind control. I had to ask myself, how could this be so blatant and obvious? And how had I lived over 40 years of my life without knowing this? As they say, you learn something new every day. This information and understanding further solidified my belief in the inherent corruption of government and the people who participate with it. I believed government was irredeemable and began speaking to people on the streets of my hometown and online at naturalfreedomleague.com about the inherent immorality of government and conversely the principles of anarchy, which is another word that has seemingly changed meaning over time based on the modern connotation of it. Ask the average person what anarchy means, and the vast majority will probably say something like chaos or destruction. In fact, anarchy just means no rulers. It is the belief that no human has the right to rule over another human, and that we do not need government as long as everyone takes on the responsibility of ruling or governing themselves under natural, universal, spiritual law. Because of the demonization of the word anarchy in the modern age, many people have begun using the word voluntarism in its place in order to have these ideas more accepted by the mainstream masses. As I continued on, as always from the foundation that I know that I don't know, I began to ask more questions about government or mind control to gain an even deeper understanding. One of those questions was, can mind control ever be moral? And the answer is yes. Mind control is moral when I am controlling my mind and you are controlling your mind. Can a person controlling another person's mind ever be moral? What about the relationship between a parent and a child? A parent uses government, aka mind control, when they impress their values onto their children. This is impossible to avoid from my perspective. Even if you had the goal of not impressing any values onto your child, that in itself is reflecting your values onto your child. The child learns mostly by mimicking the parent's behavior. The following video is an example of a parent using mind control on their child. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing there, and I'm going to share with you this video of a parent using government, aka mind control, on their child. Let me add this to the stream. All right. Let's watch this.
What's a wrong thing to do?
Something that harms someone else.
And what do you have the right to do?
Anything that does not harm someone else.
How should you not treat people?
How you would not want them to treat you.
How should you treat people?
How you would want them to treat you.
If someone is harming you, what do you have the right to do?
Defend myself.
If you see someone else being harmed, what should you do?
Defend the person being harmed.
What are you here to do?
Learn and grow.
What else are you here to do?
Live free.
Who's in control of your actions?
I am.
How do you exist in unity consciousness?
So I think, so I feel, and so I act.
Okay. So, reading on. It seems to be moral that this parent is instilling these principles into their child, but you cannot deny that this is a form of mind control. Clearly, this child has been trained to respond to these prompts in a very specific way and did not come to these answers on their own. People will try to use words like mind influence to make it sound less like control, but this is just a euphemism in my opinion. Ultimately, the parent has to take control at some point in the parent-child relationship. I would challenge anyone who disagrees to explain how you would truly allow your child to be free from your government. To not govern your child would be immoral. In arguing against government, people will claim that there is no authority in nature, but I have found this to be false as well, as there is a natural authority of a parent over a child. To further support this position, let's look at the definition of authority, again from Webster's Dictionary online. Power to influence or command thought, opinion, or behavior. True authority comes from one who has authored something that they can have authority over. So let's look at the definition of author. One that originates or creates something. If humans can take credit for authoring anything in this world, the authorship of a child is primary, as the parent provides a piece of its DNA in order to participate in the process of creation, not to mention immediately influencing the child through their behavior, parenting approach, and environment. I'm all for the argument that everything is created by the original creator, the Nus, but I am also of the belief and understanding that it is in our nature as humans to be co-creators while we are alive here on Earth. So parents do author their children, therefore authority is inherent in nature. This does not mean I condone anyone forcing themselves into a position of authority over anyone else. I'm just telling it like I see it. The argument that authority being illegitimate in nature is thus problematic for the anarchists who use it. As my search for understanding continued, I came across a different definition of government. This came from the author, researcher, and podcaster James True, who said, "Government is a tapestry of agreements." My first thought was that this was not a correct definition of government. However, after pondering over this, I began to see a connection to the literal definition. If two individuals move into a home together, they will undoubtedly come to agreements about how the house will operate. It could be as simple as someone asking the other person to put the dishes away in the dishwasher after eating. If both individuals agree on this, it requires each of them to control their minds and to remember to put their dishes in the washer after eating. Now they are participating in government or mind control with one another. This is the beginning of what will become a tapestry of agreements. Expand this type of situation further out into a community where you will try to establish certain values you want to live by, even if those values are as simple as the non-aggression principle and the self-defense principle. This brings us back to voluntarism. Voluntarism is a form of government. If two people are agreeing on rules and values together, this is government. The distinction is it's not coercive government, so it is a preferable moral form of government. This form of government leaves everything up to consent, as everyone is being accountable for their own mind control. Controlling your mind will allow you to control your body better and limit the harm you cause. Co-creation is a form of government. If you give up your government to someone else, you are no longer co-creating. We need to stop demonizing words like government, which in reality can have a very positive connotation. Always be aware of how powerful the words we say are. I believe we need to recognize the true meaning of a word versus the false meaning of a word. True government is self-government. False government is externalized government, where you have actually given up your government or control of your mind. The more local the government, the better. The most local government is self-government. So reclaim your government. All right. So that is my live stream for today, really. I'm going to keep it kind of short. But yeah, I think that when we are going around telling people that government is slavery, we are talking about the modern connotation of the word government. We are not focusing on the positive connotation of the word government, which is probably the most important thing that we need to be developing and perfecting is our government, our self-government, our mind control. It was funny because I saw Benny Wills had a video. If you guys don't know who Benny Wills is, I'm assuming you do. But check out Benny Wills on YouTube. Really awesome entertainer, poet, freedom activist, and he was on the same wavelength as me, as like that mind control is not a bad thing, you know. And it does make sense that we call this thing government, right? This is an aspect that I wanted to add into the writing, and maybe I will before I post it in my Substack. But this is why they call it the state, right? Because the state that we are in right now, the government that we have created right now, is where we have all given up our self-government. We have all externalized our government to somebody else, and we've outsourced it, right? And so that's the state that we are in right now. That is why we are in a state of apparent slavery or bondage, or where we feel like we are being controlled. This is something that we've done ourselves because we have given up our own government. And again, I understand what we mean when we say government is slavery, but we need to be clear that we're talking about the institution of government. And I think that we need to bring into the discussion the positive connotation of government and the importance of your own mind control and having control over your own mind. This is the only way to solve this problem. Again, as I spoke earlier about the news is there to distract you from using your own mind control. People watch the news and they believe everything they see on there as true. And they don't use their mind control to really discern what is and what is not false. And in reality, most of what we're seeing is false. Most of what we are seeing on the news is potentially crafted specifically for the purpose of redirecting our mind control into this box, into this machine, and into this state. And then if you get into, again, our friend earlier, Manu, was talking about the technology that they have. You know, we've fed our government into this machine, into this AI, and this AI is giving us back what we've put out. So the state that we are in is one of seeming bondage and slavery. And the way out is to reclaim your government, reclaim your mind control, reclaim these words. You know, when I brought up this topic to some people, they were like, well, why would you use the word government? You should say governance or something. But why? We don't do that with anarchy. Although in some cases we do, right? We've stopped saying anarchy because it has a bad connotation. We've moved to voluntarism. But again, voluntarism is still a form of government. Voluntarism is still, you're going to have to make agreements with people and come to decisions and make solutions, make decisions and come to solutions and problem solve with others. That requires mind control. If you're going to instill a certain set of values into your society, into your school system of what you're teaching your kids, this requires mind control on all people's parts, but they have to be controlling their own minds. So this is the goal for me with this. I was wrong. A lot of this is my own personal development happening as I'm sharing these ideas with you, that it really starts from within. And I think it's good for us to come online and share what we're discovering and what we're trying to learn. But, from trying to tell people this is how you have to do it. And this is, the natural law transgressions. And this, this is the system that is objective, that becomes really difficult for people. And that, this is another idea I want to get into eventually, is that, it's not objective morality. It's just morality. It's kind of like, it's not the deep state. It's just the state, right? It doesn't matter. Let's get rid of that word objective. Morality is that process of discovering what is right and wrong. And each person has to do that themselves. I mean, we've seen what happens when you try to tell people this is what's right and this is what's wrong. And again, even within the transgressions of, the 7 transgressions of natural law that, again, I have on the Natural Freedom League website, right? And they, as a basic framework, they do make sense. But again, people are going to challenge you on that, and they're going to get into specific situations. And you have to realize that it takes each individual to figure out on their own what is right and wrong in each specific situation. So we need to be encouraging people to get to that point where they're accepting the fact that they have this system within them of morality, of discernment, and that is what we're here to do. We're not here to externalize that power and give it to somebody else. And when we do that, that's what leads to the problems in the world. I understand what people say when they say objective, but again, it can become problematic. So again, I'm going to follow that up with repeating it. It's not about objective morality. It's just about morality. The system of morality is objective. It's within all of us. It gets distorted by bad information, but it's there. Ultimately, there's something in us that has a sense of right and wrong. And that's morality. That's what we need people to tap into. So, I have another comment here. Will Color, my brother. It's all about evolution and consciousness. That's right, my friend. Will is an excellent teacher of natural law, and He is my partner at Natural Freedom League, and he's out there doing the work, and I support what he's doing, and I believe in what he's doing. And as I said, I'm going through my own internal, struggle with some of the terms that we're using and how to best express them. And we all have our way to do it. And so I'm dealing with these through writing, through talking on here, and sharing the ideas, and eventually want to get more interaction with people coming on to the panel. I'm not going to do the panel today. We'll get that into that eventually. Still kind of getting comfortable with the live stream and producing and bringing up content, stuff like that. So, but yeah, I want to hear different people's ideas. I want to share these ideas, and we need to work through these ideas in order to find better ways to communicate and share this information with the world. So shout out to everybody who came by and watched. And again, I really would love any type of comment or response. Contact us, naturalfreedomleague.com. You can email us. And we have the Funnel Conference, Funnel 3, coming up in June. Really looking forward to that. A lot of great presenters there. And yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming in the near future. So I am going to take us out with my good friend Mike Mattingly, the Funky Father, and his little song, which is a tale of government in itself, called Put a Spell on You. Because with these words and with these systems, they definitely put a spell on us. All right? So, everybody, peace. I will see you soon. And have a good day.
Well, here come all the actors. This play has all been cast. Do not recognize them. Do not know the past. Wasn't so long ago, a different tale was told. The ancient script had been rewritten, no products are to be sold. Yeah, they got you where they want you. Yeah, they put a spell on you. They're scared by these illusions, this new spooky ad campaign. Everywhere you turn, it's always pounding in your brain. Do not go to beaches, do not breathe the ocean air. Yeah, they stole $6 trillion just to show how much they cares. Yeah, they got you where they want you. Yeah, they put a spell on you. Yeah, they got you where they want you. We're flipping through all them channels, programming mind control. Try to convince the world that the humans got no souls. Yeah, they're only flesh and blood. Yeah, they're only dirt and mud. Our lies conspire to douse the fire, inspire with the breath of life. Yeah, they got you where they want you. Yeah, they put a spell on you. More lockstep marching doctors with their dangling stethoscopes. Their science they claim the final solution, the only human hope. or keep you from your neighbors, all muzzled up in the mask. Yeah, you take them off 'cause you got no cough, but you don't know who to ask. Yeah, they got you where they want you. Yeah, they put a spell on you. Yeah, they got you where they want you. Yeah, they put a spell on you. Oh, one thing is crystal clear. Can I live in fear? 'Cause if we do, the human spirit will surely disappear.
The intention of Natural Freedom League is to expand the understanding of natural law, which is based on objective morality, and to expose the illegitimacy of the belief in authority, and thus the inherent immorality of all government.
We be the Natural Freedom League, 'cause we become no longer unvegan. We seek in the wisdom, and that's why we did come to this prison, a prism. And that's why the beat thumps, and that's why we speak up. We